How's it going, everybody? Today is Wednesday, February 7th. I got a pretty work-intensive day ahead of me, so I thought I'd take you guys through it. So right now, I just had my morning coffee, took my dogs out, and did some client updates, and I'm about to head to the gym at about 10 o'clock here. I'm going to take you through my vertical focus push day, and then I got lots of work, so I'll show you guys what I'm doing throughout the day. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the video. All right, guys, we are starting off this workout with the Incline Smith machine bench press. This has been a staple exercise in my program for quite a while. I just haven't had a need to rotate it out in between massing and now cutting. I've just been progressing pretty much linearly on it for a long time, and it's been feeling good. So as you'll notice, my warm-up sets, I generally will increase the load and decrease the reps. So I started with a plate, did like 8 reps, did a plate and a quarter for like 6. Now I'm doing 2 plates for about 4. Now I'm doing my working weight for, I believe, 1, and that's called an acclimation set. So basically your nervous system is ready for the load, so are your muscles, joints, connective tissues. One thing you'll notice is on those warm-up sets, I was really taking my time with them. They look very similar to my working sets, and that's one thing you want to make sure you are paying attention to, is when you're warming up, making sure your warm-ups are done thoroughly and you take your time doing them, and they look like your working sets. As you'll see here, I am controlling the eccentric and I'm pausing briefly on my chest, allowing the bar to kind of sink into my chest at the bottom there to get a little bit more stretch as I descend. Here's another angle of that, and you can really see that bar kind of sink into my chest. I think I have about 3 sets here, and this is going to be my first exercise in this push day. Letting the bar kind of come right above the nipple line. That's just where it feels most comfortable for me and where I feel strongest. And you'll notice I do have a little bit more narrow grip here. And that, again, is just a grip that feels more natural to me and feels good, and I get a good stretch in my chest. Here we're moving on to the Atlantis incline press. So you didn't see it, but I actually put yoga blocks underneath the arms so that when I push the weight off, it starts at a higher range of motion, so I'm not like having to squeeze into the machine. Again, here I'm doing like a 7 to 12 reps, similar to the Incline Smith machine bench there, pausing briefly at the bottom. And this one, I take that top part a little bit faster just because there's almost like no load there. It feels very light, and I really just emphasize the stretch. 1, it's a little bit more injurious down here, and 2, that's where the muscle growth stimulus is. So if the tempo almost changes throughout the rep, where this is a little bit faster and then I slow it down towards the stretch. And I do that with a few movements, and I really use the SFR to determine when to do that, right? Does the movement feel better? Do I get a better pump, a better sensation of stretch when I do that? And I do, so that's why I'm doing it there. This is a dumbbell fly press. This is an exercise that I've reevaluated and incorporated into my routine after a lot of the lengthened research has come out, meaning stretch under load being better for hypertrophy, because this exercise becomes so light here at the top, and because with the dumbbell fly press, what happens is you control a heavier weight on the eccentric, but then you just have to press it up on the concentric. So you're getting a lot of stretch under load on the eccentric. So this is an exercise that I think makes a lot of sense for the loading profile and for its benefits for muscle growth. That's why I'm doing it this mesocycle, and it's been a great addition to my training. Dumbbell flies, dumbbell fly press, dumbbell pullovers are all ones where that resistance profile is harder in the stretch, and exercises that I have reconsidered with the new evidence on lengthened training being better for muscle growth. This week's at about 2 RIR, so about 2 reps from failure is what I'm training at roughly. And you'll notice I ended that set in the stretch. Here I just did some posing, about 2 weeks into dieting here. The goal for this prep was just to start much leaner, and as you can see, that's what I accomplished. I have about like 18 weeks for the show. All right, so I finished up training. It's about 12 o'clock, and now I need to do my weekly Costco run. So I might not film in Costco, but I'll show you guys the groceries I get afterwards. All right, so I just got back from Costco, so I'll just kind of show you some of the stuff I picked up. Here I got Greek yogurt, some cottage cheese as well. Fruit, so I got strawberries, blueberries. I have some oranges over there. Apples as well. Diet soda, so we got Barks Zero Sugar Root Beer. Steak strips, because I'm going on a trip next week. So it's nice to have some beef jerky. There's only a half gram of fat per serving in here. Yoiko's 000. Greek yogurt as well to mix in with the plain Greek yogurt for some flavor. I have this keto bread from Costco. Also went to Walmart, that's where I got the diet soda. Rice cakes again because I'm traveling. And then some lettuce and steak as well. And I have some chicken in the fridge. That's pretty much it. This is probably roughly a week's worth of groceries, so I'll probably eat most of this throughout the week. Oh, and I also got this from Walmart. This is one of my favorites, the Minute Maid Zero Sugar. This is my favorite flavor, the mango passion. Oh, and Kirkland protein bars, which are my favorite protein bars. One, because they're cheap, and two, because they have 10 grams of fiber per bar. All right, here we have my first work block for the day. I'm actually editing a previous YouTube video that is on this channel here. And I usually work in about 1.5 hour long blocks. Unless I'm just in a workflow, then I won't stop. But I do have a work timer, and I'll work for about 1.5 hours generally, and then I need to go eat or do something like take out my dogs. So I'll do that and then come back to work. So here I'm making some thumbnails. All right, so you saw me work for a few hours. I was working on releasing a YouTube video, then had a client call, and I worked until the point where I started losing some focus. Then I took my dogs out and ate, and then I took a nap. I ate an edible before my nap, and I ended up napping for like 2 hours, which was supposed to be 30 minutes. But there's actually like this kind of dialogue that goes on in my head when I'm working. And because I am bodybuilding, it's one of those things where people reward like losing sleep and being not well rested in exchange for work. And it's like a socially rewarding thing. But with bodybuilding, recovery is a big part of it. So I'm kind of always doing this dance of like, hey, if I'm like tired, go take a nap. Or if I have the opportunity to sleep more, and then just get as much as you can get done when you have the available energy and it's not stressing you out and whatnot. So I'm not like mad about it. And I never am if recovery is is one of the priorities that I'm following in it, and it impedes maybe some hours I might work in the day. That's not a big deal to me. It would be silly of me to pretend to not get the rest when I need it, and then pretend like I'm doing the best I can to be a good bodybuilder. And that is something where, with the health trade-offs I'm taking with bodybuilding, there's a certain amount of things that are non-negotiables, and also because I'm taking this very seriously and stuff like that too. So, but that being said, I'm gonna head to the gym right now, do my PM session. I'm gonna show you guys that, and I'm gonna come home, finish a client program, and that's gonna be it for today. It's a pretty busy day. I'll probably be working up until the time I go to bed. All right, starting the PM session off with Smith Machine Skullcrushers. This is another one of those movements that stayed in for a while that's just been working really, really well. As you'll notice, I allow my elbows to drop, and I drop the bar towards my chin, and then I let the elbows come back a little bit at the top here to get even more stretch. I've talked about this a lot in content, but a skull crusher where you come behind the head provides a little bit less stretch due to the arm angle. If you drop the elbows, the arm angle becomes smaller and you get more stretch in the tricep. Otherwise, I'm really trying to tuck my elbows toward each other to reduce the absolute load and the stress on my triceps while delivering more stimulus. And just, again, you'll notice this across all my training, really controlling that eccentric brief pause and the stretch position. And here's a really good angle of that, showing that where the bar position is aligned with. So it's starting like somewhere above my chin when I set up into position, and then I drop my elbows as I come down there. And again, this is just a skull crusher variation. There's many ways you can do it. This is just the way that I found works really well for a lot of clients on average. Some people experience elbow pain doing it this way, so then they can do it over the head or to the forehead. And then here we have an overhead cable extension. So I did an overhead barbell extension the previous mesocycle, and I switched to this because it's a little bit less stressful on the elbows. And again, you'll notice I'm tucking my elbows toward my head. I'm also dropping them as I come down. Similar kind of concept to the skull crusher there, where I can get more stretch in the tricep. Pausing in the stretch position as well. And I believe I'm just doing straight sets here. Myo reps are possible and feasible, but they're a little bit difficult. But I may do them this next mesocycle to get more stimulus. But these sets were providing enough pump and disruption in the target muscle that I didn't really feel that addition was necessary as far as doing like an intensity technique on them just yet. Because this is my first mesocycle of the contest prep, I'm not using a lot of intensity techniques. I'm going with a lot of straight sets just because I don't need a lot of volume. I'm not super beat up. I'm pretty fresh coming off of a maintenance phase. So this is, you know, a lot more straight sets, heavier loading work right now. Here we moved on to the machine lateral raise. I actually was doing a Smith machine upright row, but I had some wrist pain come back. So I just switched to the variation. And that's one of the instances where I would say switching an exercise during a mesocycle, excuse me, is appropriate. Normally I would say stay with the same exercise for a number of time, but due to this injury, it was causing pain. So I just switched to something that I knew wasn't gonna bother my wrist, and then just trained in the same rep range or similar rep range and use the same failure proximity. Remember, your muscles don't detect specific exercises, they just detect tension. They just adapt to the stimulus that you're giving them. So as long as the stimulus is similar, the muscles don't know what machine or exercise you're doing specifically. Here we have a preacher curl, and I get questions about this setup all the time, but really I'm dropping the seat down, so I have to actually reach up here. Also, you notice there's a pad under my arm so that I get more stretch. And I'm really trying to tuck the elbows underneath as much as I can. I have done these as lengthened partials before, but this new machine we got provides a really good stretch at the bottom there. Sometimes the resistance profiles of these preacher curls aren't great, where they're hardest at the short position. And again, with the lengthened partial stuff, like as far as mind-muscle connection, getting a good peak contraction probably isn't the best thing for muscle growth. And instead, we should look at mind-muscle connection as getting a great degree of stretch under load. So when you're picking an exercise, does it provide a good amount of stretch under load, or can you modify it either through your technique or modifications such as this pad in order to get more stretch under load? This is just one example. I mean, you've probably seen a few from other videos and even in this video itself of how I've modified exercises. Like I put you know, this pad in front of my chest on chest supported rows. I put it in front of my shins when I'm doing leg extensions, all to increase the range of motion and get more stretch as well. And that pretty much concludes my training for the day. I came home and had another work block. So I think I probably worked cumulatively like, I don't know, 5-6 hours this day on top of my training and stuff like that. But most of my day is either at the gym or in front of my desk. That's pretty much my daily life. I think I was building out a new client program here actually. So you'll see me going through some of the spreadsheets and looking at their intake form and things like that. But most of my time is outside of the gym, is doing client updates, making content, responding to messages, and you know, education is a big portion of that as well on particular days. But this is really pretty much my life at this point. I really enjoy it, and you know, I'm grateful to be in the position that I can do this full time and help other people do the same stuff that I'm doing. So I just wanted to take a moment and thank you all for watching this video, and leave a comment if you'd like to see more like it or have any suggestions for other videos and topics. Also, if you leave questions in the comments, I will answer them on these vlogs and training videos as well. So feel free to leave any questions you have down there. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and maybe consider checking out one of these videos if you want to see more content.